Chosen one, your time has come now. Those who have mocked you, they are going to be held accountable. If you have clicked on this video today, it is not a coincidence, but your divine time is near. God's wrath may not come immediately, but when it does, it comes with the force of an unstoppable freight train. This metaphor tells that even though wrongdoings may not always have immediate consequences, there will come a time when justice will be done, and it will be unstoppable. Your enemies mocked you, humiliated you in front of a crowd of people. They thought you are weak. How can you do anything to them? But they did not know that some divine power is watching them from above. God is going to shatter their arrogance now. They deliberately started a fire out of their arrogance, but now the flames have gotten out of control, and now they are caught in a fire they cannot put out. A fire they did not understand was never meant for the chosen people, but for them. Now God is about to take such revenge that the ground will be swept away from your enemies. Before the universe immerses you in this deep change, you can give your feedback to the universe by commenting 999. And if you are not connected with the energy of this channel, then you can join by subscribing to the channel. Opening message of hope and power. Chosen one, I want you to take a deep breath and understand that your time has finally come. You've been waiting for this moment, even if you didn't fully realize it, and today, something powerful is shifting in the universe. Today, divine forces are aligning, and justice is about to unfold in ways that you never thought possible. For so long, you've carried the weight of being overlooked. You've been mocked, humiliated, and treated as though you were insignificant. The world seemed to turn a blind eye to your struggles, and those around you may have even laughed at your pain, not understanding the strength it took for you to endure. They saw your quiet perseverance as a weakness, not knowing that you were simply waiting for the right time to rise. Maybe you've felt trampled on, as if every step forward was followed by 2 steps back. Perhaps you've been constantly pushed down, even when you gave your best, tried your hardest, and showed up for others when no one showed up for you. But through all of it, you've held on. You've stood strong, even when it seemed like the world was determined to break you. Your resilience is a testament to the power that lies within you, one that's been building quietly, like a storm waiting to break free. What I want you to understand right now is that all of that pain, all of those moments of injustice are about to be answered. The universe has been watching, and divine justice is at hand. It's not coming in some distant, abstract future. It's happening now. Those who thought they could take advantage of you, those who mocked and humiliated you, those who believed that you were weak, now they will face the consequences of their actions. They may not have seen it coming, but the time for their reckoning is near, and nothing will be able to stop it. You are not alone in this. The power of the universe is on your side, working behind the scenes to ensure that balance is restored. It's as if everything you've gone through, the pain, the struggles, the moments where you thought you couldn't take another step, is all building up to this moment. The waiting, the silence, the unseen force, it's all been preparing you for the transformation that is now unfolding. This is your moment of victory, your moment of awakening. The universe is moving, and it's aligning to bring about the justice you've been patiently waiting for. Stand tall now, because what's coming next will be unlike anything you've ever experienced. The metaphor of the unstoppable freight train. The wrath of divine justice may not always be immediate, but when it comes with an overwhelming force that nothing can resist. Think of it like a freight train. When that train begins its journey, it moves steadily, slowly building momentum. It might not seem like much at first, a small sound in the distance, but once it's in motion, there's no stopping it. It's powerful, unstoppable, and inevitable. It crashes through everything in its path without hesitation, sweeping away anything that dares to stand in its way. In the same way, divine justice works quietly in the background, unseen by most, but always present. It's like the stillness of the air just before a storm. You may not feel the changes happening at first, and to the outside world, it may seem like nothing is changing at all. People might question why things are so unfair, why those who have wronged you seem to get away with it. It can feel frustrating, even lonely, because you see the wrongs being done around you, and yet nothing appears to happen. But this is where patience becomes crucial. You see, the universe doesn't act in a rush. It's not bound by the same constraints of time that we are. Divine justice isn't bound to human understanding of speed or fairness. Just because we want to see immediate results doesn't mean they're meant to come at that time. There's an unseen hand, a quiet force at work, making sure that everything happens exactly as it should. This might not be something you can see right now, but trust that it's there. There's a plan being set in motion that you might not fully understand yet. Every wrong, every slight, every act of cruelty will eventually face its moment of reckoning. The universe is making sure that the timing is perfect. It's as if the train is picking up speed, moving closer and closer to your enemies. And when it's time for them to face the consequences of their actions, that train will hit them with a force they won't be able to avoid. In the meantime, your job is not to despair or grow impatient. Yes, it's difficult to watch injustice unfold when it feels like no one is doing anything about it. But that's the beauty of divine timing. Even when it feels like your efforts are in vain, even when the universe feels silent, it's never inactive. The gears are turning behind the scenes. The universe is aligning things in a way that will make the justice more powerful, more profound when it finally arrives. Patience is key. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about trusting the process, understanding that things are happening that are beyond your control. Your part is to stand strong, to continue walking your path with integrity and faith, knowing that the universe is working on your behalf. Just like that freight train, divine justice will come. You may not be able to see it now, but trust that when it arrives, it will be with a force that nothing and no one can stop. It will arrive at the perfect moment, and when it does, everything will shift. Your enemy's arrogance. Your enemies thought they had you figured out. They saw you as weak, insignificant, or even invisible. To them, you were just another person, someone they could mock, humiliate, and walk all over. They laughed at your struggles, believing that your pain was a sign of your weakness. They mocked you in front of others, not knowing that their words, their actions, were not just hurting you, they were digging their own graves. They believed that they could control you, bend you to their will, and that you would remain silent, passive, unable to stand up for yourself. But they made one fatal mistake. They didn't see what you had deep inside. They didn't understand that beneath the surface there was a strength they couldn't possibly comprehend. You were never truly weak, never as insignificant as they thought. They mistook your silence for surrender, your patience for weakness, and your quiet strength for passivity. But in truth, you were never powerless. You were simply biding your time, waiting for the right moment to reveal the depth of your strength. What they failed to realize is that their arrogance was built on a complete misunderstanding of who you are, and more importantly, who is watching over you. They were so caught up in their own inflated sense of power that they didn't even stop to think about the forces beyond their control. The divine power that surrounds you, the universe that guides your path, was always there, quietly watching, preparing for the right time to act. They believed they could mock you, make you feel small, and that they would get away with it. But what they didn't understand is that there's a higher power at work. something far greater than they could ever imagine. They were blinded by their own arrogance, so full of themselves that they failed to see the divine protection surrounding you. Every time they belittled you, every time they tried to tear you down, the universe was recording it all. Every action, every word was being stored in a ledger far beyond their reach. What they didn't realize is that they were not only mocking you, but they were also mocking the very forces that were keeping you safe. Your enemies saw only what was in front of them. Your struggles, your quiet moments, the times when you seemed to be at your lowest, but they didn't see the bigger picture. They didn't see the divine strength that was hidden, the resilience built through every hardship you endured. They didn't understand that the trials you faced were not meant to break you, but to build you, to prepare you for something much greater. They mistook your patience for passivity, but what they didn't know was that patience is a form of strength. You were gathering energy, gathering power, and when the time came, you would be ready to strike back with a force they couldn't imagine. In their arrogance, they believed they could control you. They believed that as long as they kept you down, as long as they kept mocking you, you would never rise. They underestimated the power of your spirit, the strength that comes from a divine source. They never knew that you weren't standing alone. They thought you were easy to defeat, but they were mistaken. The higher forces were always with you, waiting to reveal their might when the time was right. Now, the tables are turning. The arrogance that once made them feel invincible is now their undoing. They thought they were in control, but in reality they were playing with fire. The divine protection that has been guiding you is now about to unleash its wrath upon them. The same forces they didn't believe in are about to remind them of their place in the world. What they saw as your weakness was, in fact, a divine strength waiting for its moment. And when that moment comes, they will realize the truth. They were never in control. Divine power is always watching. What your enemies never understood, what they never took the time to realize, is that you were never truly alone. All along, there has been an unseen force, a divine power, watching over you, guiding you, protecting you in ways they couldn't possibly fathom. This force isn't bound by the rules of the physical world, nor can it be measured by earthly standards. It's a power so vast, so far beyond human comprehension, that no one can truly grasp its depth. And yet, it has been there, standing guard, quietly weaving its protection around you, keeping you safe even in your darkest moments. While they mocked you, while they thought they could control your every move, they failed to notice that there was something far greater than them keeping an eye on the situation. They believed that your pain was a sign of your weakness, that the hardships you faced meant you were out of favor or somehow unprotected. But what they didn't see was the bigger picture. Every single moment of your struggle, every tear you shed, every time you stood up despite the odds, it was all being watched. And it was being watched by something far more powerful than any human force, far more capable of bringing justice than any earthly power ever could. This divine force that watches over you doesn't miss a thing. It sees everything. It sees the people who have wronged you, the ones who have hurt you without remorse, and it records every act of injustice, every cruel word, every unfair action. Nothing escapes its attention. It's like a cosmic ledger that records everything, big and small. Your enemies might have thought they could get away with their actions, that their hurtful words and deeds would go unnoticed or unpunished. But they couldn't have been more wrong. This force, this divine power, was watching every single one of them, carefully observing their arrogance, their cruelty, and their attempts to break you. And the thing is, this divine power doesn't forget. It doesn't let go of anything. While the world may have seemed to ignore your suffering, while the people around you may have brushed off your pain, The universe was taking note. In the grand scheme of things, your suffering was never in vain. Every act of injustice, every moment where you were treated unfairly was not just passing by unnoticed. It was being stored, marked, and when the time is right, it will be brought to light. The forces that have been protecting you all along will rise up, and justice will unfold in ways you can't yet imagine. It's easy to feel small in moments of hardship, to think that your voice isn't heard, or that your struggles don't matter. It can seem like the universe is indifferent to your pain. But I assure you, nothing could be further from the truth. The divine power that watches over you is not blind to your suffering. It sees everything, and it works in ways that go beyond your understanding. What might seem like a delay in justice is merely the universe preparing the perfect time for balance to be restored. The universe doesn't move in haste. Divine justice is not quick to anger, but when it comes, it is thorough and inevitable. Your enemies may think that they've gotten away with their actions, but they are mistaken. Every time they acted with cruelty, every time they mocked you or caused you pain, the universe has taken note. And soon, the time will come for them to face the consequences of their actions. This force is not only watching, it's waiting for the right moment to act. So, when you feel discouraged, when you feel as though you are being overlooked or forgotten, remember this: you are not invisible. You are not alone. The divine power watching over you is greater than anything your enemies could ever comprehend. And it is only a matter of time before it steps forward and sets everything right. Keep your faith strong, knowing that justice will come, not in your time, but in the perfect time of the universe. The fire of their own. Making your enemies thought they were clever, didn't they? They believed they could light a fire, fueled by their arrogance, thinking it would burn you. They thought that by pushing you down, by mocking you, and by creating chaos in your life, they could destroy you. They believed that this fire, born from their pride and cruelty, would consume you, and they would be the ones standing tall in the ashes. What they didn't see, what they failed to understand, is that the fire they started was never meant for you. It was always meant for them. In their arrogance, they made the fatal mistake of thinking that they could control the flames of their own creation. They thought they could set a spark and watch you burn, but they underestimated the power of the universe and the divine protection surrounding you. They didn't realize that the very fire they ignited was actually the force of their own undoing. The flames they unleashed to destroy you would, in the end, engulf them. What they didn't understand is that the universe has a way of turning the tables. When people act out of malice, when they intentionally hurt others out of pride and selfishness, they set in motion a chain of events that can't be undone. They may think they can control the fire, but once it spreads, it consumes everything in its path. And that's exactly what's happening now. The fire they thought would destroy you is now turning on them. The consequences of their actions are about to catch up with them in ways they never imagined. Their cruelty was like kindling to a flame. Every cruel word, every hurtful action was another piece of fuel added to the fire. They believed that you would be the one burned by it. But what they failed to see is that their arrogance made them blind to the inevitable outcome. You see, when people act with ill intent, when they hurt others without remorse, they create their own destruction. It's like building a fire and thinking you can control it, only to have it grow out of control and eventually consume everything, including the one who started it. This fire isn't just about the harm they tried to cause you, it's about the energy they put into their wrongdoings. Every time they mocked you, belittled you, or took advantage of you, they were feeding that fire. And the universe doesn't forget. The energy they sent out, the negative force they created, will return to them. They cannot escape it, no matter how much they try to distance themselves from their actions. The more they tried to break you, the more they were setting themselves up for their own downfall. Now, as the fire grows, they'll be the ones caught in its flames. The consequences of their actions are coming for them. They thought they could escape the fallout, but there is no running from the universal laws of justice. They will soon realize that the destruction they tried to create for you was never meant for you at all. The fire will turn on them, and they will have no choice but to face the consequences of their own wrongdoing. It's almost poetic, isn't it? Their arrogance, their desire to control and hurt others will be their undoing. They thought they were the ones in control, but they were only setting the stage for their own collapse. And now, as the fire they started burns, they will be forced to watch as it consumes everything they once thought they could hold on to. The uncontainable flames. Your enemies thought they were in control, didn't they? They believed they could start a fire, create chaos, and that it would burn you without consequence. They felt confident, almost smug, thinking that they could manipulate the situation, play the game of life by their own rules, and come out on top. But they made a crucial mistake, a mistake that's now becoming painfully clear to them. The fire they set, the one they thought they could control, has grown too big, too powerful, and now it's out of their hands. The flames they started to destroy you are now consuming them, and there's no way for them to stop it. Their false confidence led them to believe that they could manage the consequences of their actions. They thought that as long as they kept feeding the fire, as long as they kept pushing, mocking, and hurting you, they would be able to walk away untouched. They never stopped to think that their negative energy, their cruelty, would eventually come back to them. But that's the thing about the universe. It doesn't let things go unnoticed. Every harmful action, every ill-intended word, every destructive choice sends out ripples that eventually return to the source. And now, the energy they put into trying to bring you down is coming back in a way they never expected. They underestimated the power of their own actions. The false confidence they carried blinded them to the reality that every negative action creates an equal and opposite reaction. In their minds, they were just acting out of arrogance, thinking they could bend the world to their will, but they didn't see the consequences building up behind the scenes. They couldn't control the fire. They believed they could start it, watch it grow, and somehow keep it contained, but it spread beyond their ability to handle it. What they once thought was a controlled burn, something they could extinguish when they were ready, is now a raging inferno that threatens to consume everything they've built. What they didn't understand is that harm and negativity have a way of boomeranging back to the source. Every cruel word they spoke, every act of malice, every time they tried to hurt you, they were feeding that fire. And the more they added to it, the more it grew. What they thought they could keep under control is now overwhelming them. The fire they thought they could control, the fire they believed would destroy you, has turned on them, and they have no way to put it out. It's burning through their confidence, their pride, their sense of superiority, and now they're left scrambling, watching as everything they worked for is undone. Now they're forced to confront the reality they tried to avoid. The universe doesn't allow negativity to go unchecked. The energy they sent out with the intent to harm others is now coming back to them with full force, and the worst part is that they can't stop it. The fire they lit with their arrogance is consuming everything they thought was secure, and there's nothing they can do to stop the inevitable. They might have believed they were untouchable, that they could avoid the fallout of their actions, but the truth is, no one escapes the consequences of their choices. Now, as the flames roar, they must face the reality of their own making. It's a powerful lesson in the laws of the universe. What you put out, you get back. They chose to create destruction, and now they're witnessing the destruction of their own creation. The flames they once thought they could contain are now consuming them entirely. The fall of the arrogant. For far too long, your enemies have lived in the illusion of invincibility. They believed their arrogance would shield them from the consequences of their actions, that they could continue to mock, belittle, and hurt without ever having to face retribution. They were so confident in their own power, so sure of themselves, that they thought they could get away with anything. But what they failed to realize is that no one is above the law of the universe. Divine retribution is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And now that time has come. Their arrogance is about to be shattered, and the very ground beneath their feet will be swept away, leaving them with nothing but the aftermath of their own choices. Divine retribution is inevitable. It's the natural order of things, the cosmic balance that cannot be ignored or outrun. For every action, there is a corresponding reaction, and the universe doesn't forget. Your enemies may have thought they could hide behind their pride and their sense of superiority, but they have been blind to the fact that their every wrong deed has been recorded. They've sown seeds of destruction, and now those seeds are sprouting with a vengeance. The higher forces, the divine power that watches over the world, are now stepping in to bring balance. What they thought was their power, their ability to control and manipulate, is about to crumble beneath the weight of their own arrogance. Their downfall will not be a quiet one. It will be a powerful statement from the universe, a reminder that no one is beyond accountability. Divine retribution isn't just about punishing wrongdoers. It's a declaration of the laws that govern the universe. It's a reminder that justice will always prevail, no matter how much someone tries to avoid it. Your enemies might have believed they could escape the consequences of their actions, but in truth, they were only setting themselves up for a fall. And when that fall comes, it won't just be a personal lesson for them. It will be a powerful message for the universe as a whole. The ground beneath their feet will be swept away, and they will find themselves in a place they never expected. Their pride, their arrogance, their false sense of control will collapse, and they will be forced to confront the reality of their actions. There will be no more hiding, no more pretending that they are above the law. The consequences of their cruelty, their manipulation, their wrongdoing will come crashing down on them, and they will have no choice but to face it. The universe does not tolerate imbalance, and when someone creates harm, that harm will always return to them. It's not personal, it's simply the law of the universe. This is not just a moment for your enemies to learn a hard lesson. It's a powerful statement to the universe that justice is not optional. It is inevitable, and when it strikes, it does so with unrelenting force. The arrogance that once made them feel untouchable will be shattered, and they will be left with the consequences of their own making. There will be no more excuses, no more attempts to explain away their actions. The universe will make sure of it. And in that moment, as they face the full weight of what they have done, they will realize that no one can escape the universal laws of justice, the timing of divine justice. When the moment arrives, there's a powerful truth in the way the universe operates. Divine justice always comes at the perfect time. It's easy to feel frustrated when you see your enemies going about their lives, seemingly untouched by the harm they've caused. You might feel a burning desire for revenge, wanting to take matters into your own hands and right the wrongs they've done to you. But here's something important to understand. The universe has its own timing, and it's always perfect. Divine justice may not come immediately, but when it does arrive, it will come in a way that no one can escape and no one can stop. Your enemies will face the consequences of their actions, but it will happen on its own time, not yours. The timing of divine justice is often something we can't fully comprehend from our limited human perspective. We might feel like we're waiting for justice to be served, wishing it would happen faster, but the universe operates on a different rhythm. While we may see delay, the universe is working in the background, preparing everything for the perfect moment when the scales of justice will tip and balance will be restored. It may seem like the wrongdoers are getting away with their actions for now, but in truth, they're only being given the time they need to reveal their true nature. The universe doesn't act in haste. It waits for the right moment, and when that moment comes, it will be inevitable. The wrongs they've done will catch up to them in a way that will be impossible to deny. And here's the reassuring part. You don't need to act out of anger, bitterness, or vengeance. It's so natural to want to strike back, to hurt those who have hurt you, but that's not your role. The universe is already handling your enemies in its own way. You don't need to waste energy trying to make things right by your own hand. What you're waiting for is already in motion, and the forces of justice are working in ways that you can't even imagine. Trying to speed up or force that process will only drain you and keep you trapped in negativity. Trust that what's meant to happen will happen, and it will unfold in a way that will bring about not only your healing, but the restoration of balance. Divine justice doesn't just address the wrongs done to you, it sends a powerful message to the world. When your enemies finally face the consequences of their actions, it won't be just a private lesson for them. It will serve as a powerful reminder to everyone that there are universal laws that govern us all. No one is exempt from these laws, no matter how much power or influence they may seem to have. The universe doesn't work on human terms. It works in alignment with balance and truth. And when that truth comes to light, it will be clear and undeniable. Your enemies will have no choice but to face what they've done, and they will be held accountable in a way that is beyond your control. So let go of the desire for immediate revenge or justice. You don't need to act out of frustration or impatience. The universe is already working, and when the time is right, divine justice will come, not only for them, but in a way that will reaffirm the strength and fairness of the universal laws. Your enemies may think they've escaped their wrongdoings for now, but trust that the moment of reckoning will arrive, and when it does, it will be unstoppable. You don't need to rush or force it, just keep walking your path, knowing that everything is unfolding as it should. The power of the chosen ones, a call to action. There's a moment in every journey when the universe invites you to step into your true power, to align with a force far greater than anything you can imagine. This is that moment for you. Before the transformation sweeps through the universe, before divine justice comes crashing down on those who have wronged you, you have a chance to connect with this higher energy, to align yourself with the forces that govern justice, truth, and balance. This is the moment when you can feel the divine presence, that higher power that has always been watching over you, guiding you toward your purpose. The universe is calling, and this is your time to respond. You are not just a passive observer in this grand unfolding. No, you are one of the chosen ones. You have been chosen to be part of something greater, to be a conduit for divine energy, a vessel for the justice that will soon be unleashed. The time for passive waiting is over. Now is the time to connect, to claim your place in the divine order that is unfolding around you. By commenting 999 below, you are making a powerful declaration. You are saying, I am ready. I am connected to the divine energy that flows through this universe. The number 999 symbolizes completion, transformation, and the final stages of a journey. When you comment this number, you are aligning yourself with the divine forces at work, affirming your readiness to be a part of this powerful shift. This is not just a simple action. It's a conscious choice to step into your higher self and embrace the power that is now available to you. Subscribing to this channel is another step in connecting with this energy. It's more than just a click. It's an act of commitment. By subscribing, you are not only receiving the messages that will guide you, but also becoming part of a movement that brings divine justice to life. As you subscribe, you're aligning yourself with a community of like-minded souls who are all on a path of awakening, transformation, and the fulfillment of divine will. This is a collective energy, and when we come together, it magnifies the power of what's to come. You are no longer alone in this journey. You are joining a network of chosen ones who are all contributing to the shift that is unfolding. This is not just about witnessing justice, it's about being an active participant in the manifestation of that justice. When you connect with this energy, you become part of the wave that will sweep through the universe, bringing balance, truth, and fairness to all. The more people who align with this energy, the stronger it becomes. And as the collective power grows, so does the impact of the divine transformation. So take this moment to affirm your place in this divine order. Comment 999 to signal your readiness and align yourself with the powerful forces at work. Subscribe to this channel to connect with others who are walking the same path, and let this energy flow through you, guiding you toward the divine justice that is about to unfold. Together, we are unstoppable. The time for transformation has come, and it's up to us, the chosen ones, to embrace this energy and let it lead us to victory. Conclusion: this is your moment. You are not alone. Divine justice is coming for those who have wronged you. Stand strong, stand proud, and know that the universe is on your side. Offer a final message of strength and resilience for those who feel overwhelmed by their struggles.